meeting, I'm starting to implement a new thing called token engineering Tuesdays, where um, any articles that I deem noteworthy to like read through, summarize, and share. I do that, and then as well as crediting the author. So I started that today. So I'm gonna do that over the next couple of months. In terms of distractions, none. I'll pass it over to Tam.
Tom can not talk right now. Do you wanna go get in?
Sure. Yeah, I think intentions are really just would like to get our calendar sorted out. How our meetings are going to work going forward. Got some ideas that we want to talk to everybody about. And distractions? No, not really. One thing I will say, I think I mentioned this before. I will be out starting tomorrow. We're going to our son's graduation, so I'll be back next week. I will be online, but I won't be in meetings, but I will be checking in regularly. And I don't know, Isaac. I have to send it back to you because yeah. Can you turn it over to
Sure.
somebody else?
Let me just add that down. Which days are you going? Are you out?
So I'm out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then part of Monday too. And I'll be back on Tuesday.
Okay. Nate, you wanna go? Are you good to go now?
Yeah, sorry about that. So we're just doing quick updates or
Intentions and distractions.
intentions to go through this agenda to try to figure out exactly what the plan is moving forward in terms of the scheduling of meetings. And then distractions. Currently, my Discord is acting up, and that's my distraction. And I'll pass it over to Joseph.
Everyone else has already gone.
Sorry.
So
Pass back to you.
that's fine. That's fine. Um, well, my intentions, I guess, just to go and talk through the agenda today and distractions. None at the moment. Cool. Okay, let's get started. Before we do, let me ask again: does anyone has any topics or quick updates that they would like to get added to the agenda? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's fine. Oh, if anything, just make sure just feel free to interrupt or to add them directly to the agenda. Let's get started with some quick updates. I decided to put that Gideon won't be here as present here. Is that's this week, right? I'm sorry, or next week.
That's this week. Yeah, starting tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just so you know, so that all of us are aware. And then with the grants program, very quickly, the only thing that's missing is so for when we to make the matching boost, we had to put a multiplier, a higher multiplier on the results, and by default, the platform wasn't accepting the higher multiplier because it was out of the I guess the regular numbers or the expected numbers that they had. So I've been back and forth a bit with the Gitcoin folks, and they just confirmed yesterday that the changes to fix it to accept numbers out of the expected scale is on the roadmap and has been prioritized to be solved early. I think it was early next week or this week. Says yeah, early next week, which I think it's fine. there's only one round that has made payments that I'm aware of, so we are not like too far from everyone else. So that's good. Okay, cool.
And just to clarify, we are distributing the entirety of the 25K.
Yeah. At least that's what I think we decided. But we can have one last chat just before making payments about that. All right, cool. Now, yeah, let's move on to the retrospective action items. I took 10 minutes after the retrospective to just check the notes that we had, and choose the ones that I thought were more either more important or more clear, that that had a clear action, or that had a bunch of support, either because they had more stickers or because I saw them repeated. And those were first, compensation, to have it simplified. So, and we are indeed working on that. Hopefully more details soon. Or I don't know if you better want to talk a bit, but just let me know. Or
You mean like to talk about compensation right now, like open it as a topic?
just, I don't know if you have a quick comment. I think that's probably more appropriate. Just a quick comment, because you're more aware of that stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think this idea of simplifying the way we compensate the members of the team, it's pretty clear that it has become one of our priorities. I think now it's more a matter of what type of compensation model do we take on, right? If it's something more easy and safe as for example, salary model, or is it maybe something more complex? That could be probably be more fair, but also add um, uh, some complexities to it. So something I've been working on is this document where I've been, let me find it. I've been adding different type of compensation models that I've been doing research and adding some pros and cons to each of them. So what we could do, maybe also to continue the conversation async, is for people to go through this document, and maybe just start sharing some more ideas, maybe some other compensation models that you might be thinking of, so we can start just concentrating them in one single place, and it's easier for everyone to look for the different options. So that's one thing. And the other thing, it's also how compensation relates with the way we work, right? With roles, and also as for today with projects. That's the way we've been compensating. But how could we also take roles to the next level, and in the process simplify compensation through projects as well? So it's not an easy task. I think it has taken us quite some time to figure this out, and we haven't been able to fully do it. But I'm just putting in the table some of the different factors and variables that we need to consider. And yeah, I don't know if people have any comments. I'm just gonna share the doc in the chat here. And yeah.
Cool. Any comments with regards to that? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's move on. There was 1 or 2 sticky notes about workload and stuff. So I just wanted to give a quick reply with regards to that. Ideally, workload it was something like, finding better ways to manage workload for the people in the team. And so I guess just to be clear, ideally, we would have the conversation of workload, something similar like I tried to do on the first kind of planning we had, and just go through everyone and see if everyone felt comfortable with the amount of work they were taking on. And then there's, of course, we also have the daily sprints, the daily stand up that we do via chat, where you can share as part of your blockers if you feel a bit overwhelmed, and we can look for solutions, or you can just DM me, pick me somewhere, and we can see what we can do about the amount of work, and we can swap one thing for another, reprioritize, etc. Um, just so that I think it's important to let people know and to remember that. Um, and I guess just to also chat about things that were good. There was a lot of comments, positive comments about the daily stand up. Seems to be working pretty well, and people are happy about it. So I'm really happy about that. And again, praising Tam for the idea. Um, and the last topic, the last action item, was about documentation. That I think it's important. I saw a few stickers, I think, about our documentation being out of date, and we needed more stuff, which I agree with. So now the question, I guess, is, do we like? I, there's no question that we need more documentation. I guess the question is more like, do we should we think of including a project for documentation, or do we rather sort of just have it more present as part of each project? Um, I have thoughts of my own, but I'm curious to hear everyone else first.
I think. Oh, sorry. Can't get it. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think with regards to documentation, from my perspective, I think we definitely need to have a lot more documentation for outward for people wanting to basically, yeah, we need documentation for people that are visiting our community, whether it's people that want to get involved or people that just are just passing by, because at the moment there is nothing really like a landing page to point someone to. So when I get DMs, or when I talk to people in the general chat or in the introduction chat, I have to, like, explain and then go through them, whether it's a DM or sometimes even if it's a video call, to explain what we do and where we are and our ethos and things like that. And I think that will be that will be very, very handy with regards to from a greeter role and from a communications role. Um, yeah, I'll just leave it as that because yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think we might want to think about phasing this into two phases. One is a triage project where we basically go up on the forum and go to the handbook. Well, really, the handbook is a starting place, and just look at the things that are just outright wrong and out of date, and actually can do harm. So for instance, I think the stuff about conviction voting, we definitely have to change that ASAP. So there's some things like that I think I would say phase one is a triage project, just that prioritizes and identifies and prioritizes the things that have the potential to do harm. And then I would say there's like a phase two that comes later that is more focused on kind of the nice to have rather than absolutely need to have. And Isaac, I have one more thing to add once we're done with documentation, but I'll wait to see if anybody else has that.
Okay. Anyone else? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Before moving on, I guess I'll just say what I think. Um, I'm leaning more towards on demand, instead of making just a whole documentation project. I think we should just be including more formal documentation for most, if not all, of the projects. So, for example, with the grants program, I built the portal, which is not perfect but complete enough. And now with the public goods funding strategy, I requested in one of the tasks to build something similar for the funding strategy. And by doing that, we would slowly, and without not much distractions, build out the documentation that we need. So for instance, the things about governance and conviction voting would be solved right away with the within the project funding strategy documentation. But yeah, I guess the only exception would be to make a small bucket, maybe we can call it a really small project, just for things that may be really, really important, but not a part of a current project or a project at all. Um, yeah. Okay. What else do you have to do?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. By the way, I think that the thing I'm talking about, the triage thing, can be a very small project. We should just set the bar pretty high in terms of what is considered urgent. Um, One of the other things that came up in terms of like questions of like ideas to try is increasing the points of contact with the academy, like broadening those points of contact so it's not just Angela and me. And so that's one of the things I've been talking to Angela about, is how do we start to do that. And so they basically kind of like fall into two clusters. One is working projects. She's a big fan of working projects. I am too, like, kind of like events. So if we move forward with this idea of like helping the academy with events, that will be one way that we can start to do that. And then the other is just like how do we have like maybe we do like the monthly meeting that we're thinking about. Maybe we do that together. That one I have not talked to her about, but I think it's an interesting idea.
Sounds good. We chatted about that yesterday, so I won't really take a lot of time. Does anyone has any comments with regards to this point? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So let's move on. Now we're going to see some stuff around sprints and project management. Um, First, I think it's best if we start with the meeting schedule. So I spent it was almost 2 hours with Gideon yesterday, and we went through this table, which just in case and you haven't seen it, you can go through to Welcome to TC Sprints, and you can see here a bunch of information and direct access to project sprints and tasks. And here's the table that has the name of the meeting. If you click the link, you will see the notes for the respective meeting. Then there's the purpose of the meeting, the day and time. Most of the dates here are placeholders because we are making sense of everything. But yeah, well, let me go through each one of the meetings again, and then I'll explain how we think it's best that we arrange them, and yeah, let's get right into it. So the sprint planning, pretty straightforward to plan work for the sprint, and happens every other week. Um, the retrospective, it's to look back at the sprint and see which things, particularly about processes and how we work during the sprint, can be improved. Also, it's also a meeting that we have every other week, and should be the same week, the day before of the planning. We have the retrospective, the monthly review. it's pretty much to showcase our, we can call them clients, community stakeholders, the work that we've been doing, and this is the meeting where Gideon is also suggesting that we do together with the academy, and I think that's a decent idea because we do share. There's a big overlap of stakeholders, and probably it's a good idea that we do it together and that both teams have a space to share relevant updates regularly. We would have to think a bit more about this one and see which things are really relevant. I don't want to be sharing every little thing that we'll do, but that's a conversation for the day. Then we have the daily stand-up that we do synchronously in the private chat. These two meetings are pretty much going to be over. I'll explain in a second. At least in the current shape, these two are the ones that we have right now. And then we would have two additional meetings. At least one we are sure we want, the other one we have to Gideon has to chat with Angela to see. One is the strategy meeting, which I would say it's pretty similar to the monthly review. It's also a monthly meeting, but it's for the opposite side of the funnel. So the monthly review is for work that's done. The strategy meeting is for Gideon to get some input, some high level input on the start of the funnel of the strategy, which is going to help him a bunch with work. And then this collective all hands, I think it's a nice meeting to have probably on a monthly basis with all the teams that are under the TEC umbrella, which right now are pretty much ourselves in the academy. Let me just stop here and see if there's any questions, and then I'll go to explain the exact dates and how we can deal about it. Yeah. 5, 4, 3.
So,
Yep.
Isaac, just to confirm, right? So, the monthly review, contributors meeting, and also if you scroll down on your screen, and the last one, and the strategy meeting would. Okay, yeah. All right, sorry. So let me start again. So the contributors meeting and the strategy meeting are both going to be once a month, tackling two different aspects of the our monthly tasks and things like that. One is a review of what we've done, and one is like a projection of what's gonna happen for the next strategy.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah, and well, the strategy meeting may not be monthly. That's sort of the baseline frequency, but it may end up being more in demand. Like probably there's not enough strategy work done on a monthly basis to gather all the folks. But yeah, I at least for now I think of it as it being monthly. Cool. Anyone else? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay, cool. So that being said, we want to feed at least the most important meetings on slots that we already have scheduled, like either today's slot, Tuesdays, or the Thursdays slot. The trick, or what's most tricky, is the retrospective, because we want to have the retrospective the day before the planning, right? And so I think it's best if we choose the day of the planning, based on the retrospective. So if we go back here to the agenda, I'll share the link here in the chat. I have this Let Us Meet. It has just 2 days. One is Monday and the other one is Wednesday. And whoops, this is not it. Sorry. And the idea is that we all put our availabilities, if we find that Monday is the best day to have the retrospective because it's the day that we are all available, then we'll have the planning on Tuesdays. And if likewise, if we find that the best day to have the retrospective is on Wednesdays, we'll have the planning on Thursdays. Pretty much that, right? Then and so I'm hoping that we can get that scheduled this week so that we can get started again with proper sprints on next week. And other considerations, I guess, would be that spring plannings. So the week that we don't have the spring plannings, we will have a more of a regular meeting. Like probably we can think of it as like this one with an open agenda that we can chat and go through the topic that we feel is more relevant. So 1 week planning, other week team meeting. For the retrospective, we won't have anything on the odd week. So we have 1 week retrospective. The other week we don't have anything. I think it's good if we start that way, just to remove as much meetings as possible, while still having places to chat about multiple things and get work done. But of course, if we then see that we need to have more meetings or something extra comes up, we can probably take the time scheduled for the retrospective on the odd week and do something else there. Yeah, I don't know if that was clear. Probably a bit messy to jump around dates that way, but I'll open it up and answer any questions or get any feedback. If any, of course.
Isaac, can you clarify the contributor meeting this Tuesday meeting? I know that we don't know what the team meeting will go into, whether it will stay on Thursday or will come to Tuesday. But this meeting, as we know it right now, goes away. Or I thought that what we talked about is that it goes away, but now I'm seeing on here that you have it as once a month. Is that what you're thinking?
No, I didn't update it. I'm sorry.
So this goes.
Yeah, right. So we will be left with spring planning, retrospective, the monthly review, the daily stand-up, and the coordinators meeting or team meeting, however we want to call it, which would be just on the odd week of the spring planning. The contributors meeting, as we know it, I think will probably be sort of the scope of the contributors meeting will probably be taken by the strategy meeting, which I think the intention the intention when we made contributors in coordinators meeting was sort of in that area more or less, but in practice both contributors and coordinators ended up being sort of the same kind of meeting, and that's what we are trying to avoid now in to some extent. I think we can get more done and we can work better if we are very very intentional with the meetings we have, and this structure I think sort of accomplishes that. Yeah, but yep.
Yeah, can I add one more thing? So just to build on what Isaac is saying, yeah, I think what we were trying to do, what I was trying to do with the Tuesday calls was make this be something that was more aimed at the broader community. But in practice, these things have been they've just blurred together. Tuesdays and Thursdays haven't been all that different. Thursday's been a little bit more focused on getting work done, but so what this move is, the monthly meeting would be more about reporting out. So that's about more like accountability to the community, and whereas the retrospectives that we'll be doing every other week is more on process, like, hey, how are we doing process wise? And that's really more aimed at the team. The monthly thing is like the product, like what did we do, what did we accomplish this month, and just getting really good, getting much better at being accountable, and trying to bring in the community, like try to organize and get some bigger attendance for those calls. And then the strategy meeting, as Isaac was saying, is I'm thinking probably every other month, but I've got to think that through a little bit more. And actually, I want to talk to Tam about this a little bit, because in some ways it relates to the advisory role that we've been thinking about for a while. I might want to just try to plug that into that. But it's really about, basically these two meetings are really about making sure that the coordination team is not isolated and just kind of operating in a vacuum, right? So one is like reporting out, here's what we're doing and getting feedback on that, and then the other is input into what our priorities are, and that's the strategy one.
Yep. Okay, well, I mean, let me just count down to 5, and if not, I'll move on to the next topic of today. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 second. Okay. So the last topic I have for today is, around sprint planning more than anything, and the way we carry and plan work. So my the initial proposal, I guess, when introducing this, seemed a bit more rigid than what it was supposed to be, or that what I wanted, or what's supposed to be. Yeah. And the flow looked like Gideon, for the most part, Gideon putting a bunch of work on the backlog, and then we, on the planning, we just sat down, look at the requested work, and sort of tried to assign someone accountable, someone responsible for the work. But that I think, in reality, it's puts more pressure than needed in Gideon's shoulders, and may not be as good, because there's just a bunch of stuff that happens, and he and anyone, really, any single person can probably be aware of every single thing that's needed to complete work. And so, in my conversations with Tam, what she suggests is that we rely more on ourselves as individuals to decide what work we want to take on, right? So what I would ask everyone for next week is to think through what they are working on, what they want to get completed on the next sprint. Of course, it should be aligned with the current goals that we have, the current projects. But you guys, everyone here, has the autonomy to decide how their skills and time fit best to get that, to achieve those goals. So yeah, what it's going to look like, more or less, is each one of us think a bit through a couple of things that we want to get done for each sprint. And so on the planning, we go on a round of everyone saying what they want to work on. If there's already a task that describes the work, you just get assigned the task. If there's not, we'll just create the task and get it assigned. And then it's pretty much about negotiation. If we see that there's something that's very, very high priority, that we really need to get done during the period, we may just negotiate and try to swap one of the current the responsibilities or tasks that you want to complete, and swap it for one that we as a team agree that's more important, we can say. And that's kind of it. I guess it's more about letting everyone sort of choose some direction to some extent, or always committed to the mission that we have, while also balancing the responsibilities and what's really important for us as a team to complete. Um, yeah. I'll just open it up, see if I was clear or if there's any comments about that.
Yeah, I'll add just a perspective on this. I think that this isn't like free for all. Like, hey, let's all do whatever we want. That's clearly not what we're saying. But what we're talking about here is that there's a process that we're going to be going through for identifying the high level projects. Let's say that's what that project prospectus is. Where I will be getting input from various stakeholders. I'm still working through, as I mentioned a little while ago, what that process looks like. But the team is definitely part of that feedback process, and as are other stakeholders. And so then the idea is from that we distill down as a team, like what are the projects that we, high level projects that we want to be working on over the next couple months. And from within that's like that list of projects is where, we're all kind of looking at that and then figuring out what we're drawn to, right? What tasks, what kinds of things, what kind of work we want to contribute within those things. And as part of that process, if when we're discussing in the planning, it's like, wow, we're just missing a project, then that goes in, if that goes into the bucket of like the next phase of projects. So hopefully that makes sense. It's not, what we're not saying is like, hey, we're going to be just like randomly taking on, like like if somebody's like, hey, I think we should do something completely new this week. That's not what we're talking about. But what we're talking about is really like looking at what we're agreeing to as a team and as a community, and then figuring out what we're most drawn to as individuals, what we think we can contribute, how we think we can plug in best, and then kind of assigning tasks and assigning workloads that way in the sprints.
Yep. Yep. Well, anything else? Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, just gonna say that. Yeah, I really like the approach. I really like this framework and the way to prioritize things based on the projects and the strategy and the objectives that we have, and also provide this autonomy to. It's more about the how we do things, at least on the way I understand it. Letting people figure out the how, but have really clear the what and the why are we doing it on a more high level strategy and objective. So yeah, I just think it makes sense. I just wanted to mention that.
Cool. Well, I think I'll just count down to 5 one last time, and if not, we can probably leave 15 minutes early because this was the last topic. So tag now or shut down, not forever, but till Thursday. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. All right.
Just
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, Isaac, just a quick question. So then for the sprint planning, when would that be? Next week? What day?
Depending on the results of the Let Us Meet, it can be either Tuesday or Thursday.
All right. Okay. So then we need to first submit our availability, and then we'll figure that out. Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Sure. Yep. So please, just before we go, please remember to fill out the Let Us Meet. Remember that the Let Us Meet is for the retrospective, and the time for the planning will be dependent on the retrospective. So if the retrospective is Monday, planning will be Tuesday. If it's Wednesday, planning will be Thursday. Preferably, we would have the results before Thursday call, so we can chat through that on Thursday. But if not, we can do it asynchronously and try to get that done, and just figure out the planning for next week and start doing the planning. And then just start thinking about what's the work that you feel more excited about within the projects that we have up already, and that we have already with some sort of scope. And yeah, that's that. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Isaac.
See you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Sure.
See you, everybody.
Thanks, Isaac. Thanks, everyone.